Next up in our SEC preview is the Auburn Tigers, heading into the second year of Hugh Freeze as their head coach. And his first season, Dalton, was kind of identical to the previous 2 years. They had a 6-7 record, which was their third consecutive losing season. That hadn't happened to Auburn since the 1970s. So they're definitely trying to get back to their winning ways this upcoming season. They have an impressive collection of offensive skill position players, man. They have a star running back in Jarquez Hunter, a revamped receiving core as well that includes a guy in Cam Coleman, who I think will be an immediate breakout player. Not only breakout, I shouldn't even say that. He's a true freshman. Top 5 overall recruit in the class of 2024. And we always talk about, Jeremiah Smith is going to have this huge breakout year, or he's going to have a huge year as a freshman. Cam Coleman, I think, will also have another big year as a true freshman receiver as well. So skill position players on offense is the biggest strength, I think, for the Auburn Tigers heading into 2024. But biggest weakness, though, can Peyton Thorne deliver the ball to them consistently, man? That's the biggest question mark right now, because Peyton Thorne, another year as Auburn's starting quarterback, really efficient runner. He's a good runner. He's not an efficient passer. He had a 64.3 passing grade in 2023, which was 101st in the country, man. So, Dalton, when you watch Peyton Thorne, what stood out about him, and do you think that he could get better and deliver the ball to what is a really talented set of skill position players they have?
He needs to let it go, right? I think even going back to Michigan State, what he always has been is a pretty good play-action passer, but when you get him in drop-back situations, obvious passing situations, third and long, it's a struggle, right? Now, the rushing dimension that you mentioned, that's actually new. He didn't run like this at Michigan State, and Hugh Freeze kind of unlocked that for him, and especially in the design game, when you talk about read options and design quarterback runs, on design runs, he had 6.5 yards a carry. That was 8th best in the country among quarterbacks. So clearly, look, Hugh Freeze, he's always wanted to run the ball in any offense he's been in, and Peyton Thorne is a part of that, which is smart, but it's really going to be about, look, play action, he's going to be decent when it's schemed open. Can he drop back on 3rd and 8 and make throws when they really need him to? Because if he can't, he is going to be the weak spot again, right? And he gave them a chance last year with his legs and with the play action ability, but it's just not enough when you're trying to beat the best teams and you can't just drop back and throw the football.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, he does have a really, really talented running back to help, alleviate some of the pressure of that offense off his shoulders in Jarquez Hunter. Really been an effective running back for Auburn over the last 3 years, man, since his true freshman season. He has a 90.7 rushing grade in his career and is 3rd among SEC running backs with a 30% forced missed tackle rate over the last 3 years, as well, over his first 3 years in college football. Really effective receiver as well. He was 5th in the SEC with 342 receiving yards over the last 2 years. Really, he's just a nightmare for SEC defenders to tackle in open space, man. There's so many highlight reel plays of when he gets out in space, man, good night. Like, he could really break out of any tackle and make big plays for the Auburn offense. And I think he will be the engine, really, of that offense with what is a questionable quarterback situation that Auburn's got right now.
For sure, and they should have a dynamic running game. And I'll tell you, last year, what, their defense kept them in some games and they struggled in some others. But one guy who brought it every week was off the edge, Jalen McLeod, man. Transfer in from App State and was one of the 5 best edge rushers, in the SEC last year. Just, a really good athlete, only 6'1" and just under 230 pounds, but he's one of those stand-up guys who can rush the passer, dip and rip a little bit, drop in coverage, even had 5 coverage stops, just an outside linebacker who can do a little bit of everything. Not so great because of his size in the run game, but when you're looking that you're playing Auburn and you need to pass protect and scheme, okay, who's our first priority? It's definitely Jalen McLeod.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dalton, mentioned before that Auburn has had 3 straight losing seasons, which hasn't happened since the 70s. Will it be 4 straight? Or will Hugh Freeze bounce back, and will the Auburn Tigers, because right now they have a win total of 7.5 on FanDuel, and 6.7 wins for us. Do you think they're going to have another losing season, or do you think they'll finally get back to their winning ways this year?
I think that's the band that you're playing with, right? Because you think about last year, okay, they were 6-6 and lost their bowl game, okay, and,
right.
and Peyton, and that was a big one. Is Peyton Thorne was they just could not find it in the passing game in that game. I think Cam Coleman, you mentioned, even though he's a true freshman, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to perform because they really need their passing game to be better. But I think they could definitely be anywhere in that 6, 7, 8 win band. Depending on, you got to remember last year too, there was a really, and they were a good team, but kind of a bad loss at home to New Mexico State. One game can make the difference, right? When you're a bowl fringe team or looking at 6 or 7 win and loss season kind of thing, they certainly can. They have the ability to do so. They just, I'm with you. They need to find more in this passing game. You just, it's very hard in modern football to run the ball every play and win games, right? So if they do, I think 7-8 wins is incredibly realistic here. I don't expect them with their quarterback situation to compete at the very top of the conference, but 7-8 wins should be realistic, or they're going to start talking about Hugh Freeze down there.
Yeah, I think look at their schedule, which is decently hard. I think I'm probably gonna go below 7 wins, and I might even say 6-6 for them this upcoming season. They have the 30th hardest schedule in the 30th hardest, in the country. They play Cal, which is I think actually a decent non-con game they have, which would be interesting. They got Oklahoma at home. They're at Georgia. They're at Missouri. They're at Kentucky. They're home against A&M, and they're at Alabama. So that's a lot of games that they're not going to be favored in, I think. So 6-6 is around where I think for them, but I could see them, having a bounce back year and with some key incoming transfers too. And also they brought in an excellent recruiting class as well. Number 8 in the country, of course, still 5th best in the SEC, even though it's 8th in the country, but still a really good recruiting class that Hugh Freeze has coming in there. But I have big questions at quarterback, big questions along the offensive line as well for Auburn. I think that'll keep him from taking too big of a step forward in 2024. So that's what we got for our preview of Auburn heading into the 2024 season. Of course, like I said before, we're doing this for every single one of the 70 Power 5 teams. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of them as we preview the 2024 college football season.